Welcome to Sat Chat's Rehash, the Bitcoin podcast where we chatting about sats. Today we're going to be rehashing episodes number 26, Chris, number 27, Adam, and number 28, Car, aka my mom. I am your host, Stuart, Bitcoin Maxi, who wears prescription sunglasses to protect you and your loved ones from my Bitcoin laser eyes.
And I'm your co-host, Chris, founder and CEO of Ithaca Hummus, proud multi-coiner and Bitcoin smash buyer. We would love it if you went to YouTube and smashed the subscribe button, just like I smashed by Bitcoin. When we get to 1,000 subscribers, we'll be unlocking a Friday morning, 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time live show. And you will be entered to win 1 million sats if you're part of that initial 1,000.
So we will go over the major theme of each episode, 3 takeaways from each. That'll help you decide if you want to go back and listen to any of these. We're also going to clean up our side of the street, any inaccuracies or mistakes we made, or even the guests. And then at the end of the show, we'll pull all the open conversational threads out and go through them one by one because they're fun to explore in more detail. So, Chris, why don't you get us started off with number 26, Chris?
All right. Well, Chris is one of my buddies who agreed to come on the show pretty much before we even started. He was pumped and so excited, in fact, that he made his own shirt with his subscriber number. And I think it was number 13.
Number 12.
Number 12.
Yeah.
He was the 12th subscriber on YouTube to our channel.
Yeah.
And he's also a Bitcoiner. He's done some mining for a long time, and it was a lot of fun to talk with Chris. He's a true believer that Bitcoin is money. It's not just an investment. It's a form of money.
I love that.
Yeah. What did you think about Chris?
I loved the episode. I loved that his wife told him that it was okay to buy a bunch of Bitcoin at the beginning of the pandemic when it was like $4,500. And he didn't listen to her.
Yeah.
It's like, and we all took turns looking into the camera and saying, I should have listened to my wife.
Yes.
Remember that?
Yes.
All 3 of us.
Yeah. Yeah. So what's the title of the episode?
Well, the title of the episode, I can't remember, but the thumbnail, was supposed to grab your attention and it said something like, should have listened to my wife or something like that.
Yeah.
Or maybe it said, listen to your wife.
Listen to your wife.
Something like that. Yeah.
All right. So the 3 key takeaways. 1, most people approach Bitcoin as an asset, but it's actually money.
Holler.
2, second is layer 2 solutions like Lightning Network are crucial for Bitcoin's scalability. I would say specific to its use as digital cash.
Yeah.
And 3, widespread Bitcoin adoption hinges on perceived value. Okay.
Which is kind of interesting. I came at Bitcoin one of the angles for me early in my Bitcoin days was, everyone decides that money is worth something. That's why it's worth something.
Yeah.
And if Bitcoin is a form of money that has appreciated 200 million%, and my current money, the US dollar, has depreciated 99% several times in a row, then who cares whether it's real or not? It's better.
Yeah.
But now I am at a point in my Bitcoin journey where I understand, thanks to Saifedean Ammous's The Bitcoin Standard, that the commodity you choose to serve as your money has value because of its ability to serve well as money. So, yes, we are, in the case of the US dollar, declaring that it has value because it is so widely accepted as a medium of exchange. It is backed up by the world's largest superpower. But we choose the commodity gold as money because it's scarce, it's hard to find. It is divisible. It can be used as a unit of account. Like the commodity you choose to serve as your money outside of fiat currency is separate of your perception of its value. You couldn't choose the commodity of bananas for your money.
Right.
You couldn't choose the commodity of pine needles, bundles of pine needles, because you can't just perceive that it has value and it be valuable.
Right.
Valuable money has valuable money characteristics to it.
Well, how do you think about the difference between an individual's perception of value versus a group of people's? Like it's kind of like consensus, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like if an asset, or forget about if a thing has the properties of money, then that increases its probability of being perceived as valuable, on a consensus basis across a large number of people, right?
Whether or not a commodity makes for a good money will be borne out over time.
Yeah, because we all come to agree that yes, I've held this for 5 years, and there has not been a time where anyone just showed up with 5 times the amount of what I thought existed.
Yeah, I think, like, for example, with gold, for thousands of years, the group consensus is like, this works.
Yeah.
And in that time, stones have come in and out, shells have come in and out, glass has come in and out, paper is currently what we have, and gold has withstood all those introductions and disappearances. So, like, humanity, like the group conscience over thousands of years, has said, yeah, this is pretty solid stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And so we love on gold, but now we've got Bitcoin, and Bitcoin's better.
Yep, agreed. All right, should we jump into the inaccuracies and mistakes from the episode?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, so we talked about Bitcoin's transactions per second and compared that. I think Chris actually brought this stat, Visa's transactions per second, or TPS. The claim that was made on the show was that Bitcoin does 4.6 transactions per second, and Visa does 60,000 transactions per second. And I think Chris's point that he was making was like, how is Bitcoin going to process all the transactions of the globe if it's only currently doing 4.6? Chappie is correcting this claim, saying that Bitcoin actually averages 7 transactions per second on chain. And while Visa can handle up to 65,000 transactions per second, it only averages somewhere around 1,700 transactions per second in actual usage.
So this is interesting. I don't think the distinction between 4.6 and 7 transactions per second is impactful. Bitcoin on chain is still doing less transactions per second than these large payment networks.
Right.
But the fact that Chris's perception of Visa is that it can handle 60,000 per second, and it can, but in practice only does 1,700, it means that Bitcoin ain't that far away.
Mm-hmm.
The Lightning Network, which we talked about a lot in that episode, can do 1,700. It can do 1,700. And I paid number 47 yesterday. I zapped him 57,000 sats over the Lightning Network. It was immediate. It was easy. Once you get all set up, which was kind of tough, man alive. People are going to make that easier over time, and it's over. Mm-hmm. It's over. Mm-hmm. It's over for the traditional financial network. They're toast.
Yeah.
They're toast.
So you got to experience that Lightning Network for yourself yesterday.
Yeah.
And it sounds like a pretty impactful experience.
Oh my gosh. I mean, he sent me a little QR code invoice. I popped open I scanned it. It went right, said, okay, do you want to send him this much? Hit send. I hit send. Whoop. It was, dude, I can't wait to use it more.
Yeah.
Can't wait to use it more.
Nice. All right. Next inaccuracy. We claimed that land scarcity. Well, there's a rebuttal that Chappie's making to the land scarcity claim that we made, which was they're making more land.
They're making more land. Volcanoes are making more land.
Boston's making more
They're
land.
making more Boston.
Okay.
They're dredging in the, desert nations.
Yeah,
Bro.
yeah. Well, and just to make you feel a little bit better, Chappie was entertained by your claim. So she said, entertaining, but a little misleading. Okay. While land can be created via natural or artificial means, this is a good point here. The pace and scale of this creation is negligible compared to Bitcoin's fixed 21 million coin cap.
Yeah. So Chappie is wanting us to know that even though they are making more land, the pace at which they're making more land is compared to the size of the earth and how much land there already is. She's almost making it seem like it's almost as good as Bitcoin's truly verifiably fixed supply.
Yeah.
And I appreciate her inserting that nuance in for our Bitcoin beginners, but I'm here to tell you right now, no.
Well, okay. So you were responding to this concept that real estate investors or people who are trying to push this concept of investing in real estate onto other people. One of the things that they always say is, well, they're not making more land.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't specifically because we talk about how real estate's no good in other areas. I'm talking about, so when somebody's like, well, dang, real estate's not good, I'm going to get the land underneath. Even that they're making more of. And from my perspective, the rate of new land, okay, I get it. But guess what? What happens when all the ice melts and they're like, let's build some condos in Antarctica? Because it's just, there's a bunch of land under there. And we go to the moon and it's like, well, we're selling condos on the moon now. There's land everywhere. There's land everywhere in the whole universe. Mm-hmm. If you want to fight me that volcanoes and dredging is not leading to significant amounts of land, so it's still okay to buy land, well, guess what? There's land everywhere. We're only on one planet right now, but 2138, there's going to be land on the moon. There's going to be land on Mars. Like, forget about it. There's only, if you put your hard-earned work into anything other than Bitcoin, there will be more of it. Mm. So, and maybe the rate at which there is more of it is okay. Land, gold, real estate, probably not. Companies, none of that. But that's not good enough for me. Mm-hmm. It needs to be fully fixed.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I guess you've seen the power of and kind of played out in your head, like what it means for an asset to have a totally capped supply.
Yeah.
And so now the idea of anything less than that just makes no sense to you. Even if it's a negligible amount of supply increase, it's second best to an asset that has zero.
That's still infinitely more than Bitcoin.
Yeah.
And logically for me over the next, I'm not talking about 10 years. I'm talking about 10 centuries.
Yeah.
Over the next 1,000 years, when I run all the logic arguments in my head, Bitcoin wins.
Yeah. Yeah.
Bitcoin wins.
All right. Next, we're going to talk about number 27, Adam.
Yeah. So this was a big one. Mm-hmm. The theme for number 27, Adam, Bitcoin as a path to personal sovereignty, financial discipline, and generational wealth, told through the lived experience of a very early adopter. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So what were the takeaways?
So three takeaways here. 1, start small and be consistent. 2, Bitcoin is lost proof only if you prepare. And 3, Bitcoin's value stems from fixed supply and growing demand.
Yeah. So Adam was like, hey, man, I can buy 9 cents of Bitcoin on Robinhood. Can you buy 9 cents of anything else anywhere? Mm-hmm. Apart from cryptocurrencies, which we know we're not interested in on this show.
Right.
So start small and be consistent. And he also had that thing where if he was going to spend money and then didn't, he would just buy Bitcoin with it.
Yeah.
And consider it spent already.
Yeah.
And this dude is an original gangster with more than enough Bitcoin to not have to do that kind of thing anymore. But
Yeah.
one of the reasons why he has so much is not only because he was an early adopter, but because he just keeps rolling.
Stays disciplined.
I mean,
Yeah.
if you're a brand new Bitcoiner and you're like, man, I'm only stacking $50 a week, so is number 27 Adam.
Yeah.
He's just years ahead of you.
Yeah.
So just get started, man.
Yep.
Start small, be consistent. The piece about loss proof was like, we had a little bit of discussion about today's wallets with seed phrases versus OG bare metal Bitcoiners who were storing their keys in a file on their computer and then tossing their laptop.
Right.
That's what Cheppy means there.
Yeah.
And then just good, clean supply and demand,
Yeah.
Bitcoin.
Supplies going down, demand's going up. It's got both of those
Dude.
economic forces at play, which is why the exchange rate has skyrocketed.
Dude, think about something whose supply is going to zero.
Yeah.
And whose demand is going to infinity.
Yeah. Yeah.
As soon as you reach that inflection point, it's like
yeah, exactly.
Crazy.
Yes. It's a lot of fun.
Most useful money in the world.
And it hasn't done that yet.
Not anywhere close.
It hasn't done that yet.
We haven't even gotten started.
Yeah.
It's insane.
Yeah.
So some inaccuracies, some mistakes there. We made the claim that Bitcoin is infinitely divisible. And we did this with number 44, Evan, as well.
Okay.
If 100 million Satoshis ain't enough, we'll just make every Satoshi break up into 100 million Jamoshis. Or Yoshi Satoshis,
Joshi Shimoshis.
Yeah. So, and short story long for all of our listeners out there, we're right.
Yeah.
Bitcoin is infinitely divisible.
Chappie just doesn't know it yet.
Chappie wants to put a little bit of a distinction in here, which is fine, and that's why I included it. She says that Bitcoin is divisible up to 8 decimal places or 100 million sats per Bitcoin. It is not, quote unquote, infinitely divisible under current protocol, though the protocol could theoretically change to allow further subdivision if needed. This is the beautiful, beautiful sequence of distributed consensus. If we reach hyper-Bitcoinization and every single person realizes we need more division, then we'll adopt that Bitcoin improvement proposal, or BIP, that somebody's going to put out there that says, let's soft fork Bitcoin so that everything is the exact same, only now we can recognize that each Satoshi has 100 million Jamoshis.
Yep.
Yep. And then we're good.
Yep.
Problem is solved.
Yep.
But let's reach a point where 2.1 quadrillion units
is
somehow not enough to service the entire world's economy, which is only worth 900 trillion.
Yep.
All right, so let's look at what was implied during the show. Bitcoin has never been hacked. This is true. Bitcoin has never been hacked. Because to hack Bitcoin, you need many more times computing power than there already is.
Mm-hmm.
And if you can assemble enough computing power to effectively attack Bitcoin, you will end up deciding to put all that computing power toward the problem of solving the next block so that you can just get rich.
Yeah.
You're going to go, wait. I just assembled this entire army to lay siege to Bitcoin. And when I finally got to the Bitcoin fortress, I realized it would actually make more sense to just put all these soldiers to work for Bitcoin. So there's no incentive to attack Bitcoin, in addition to it being insanely difficult to attack. Chappie wanted us to make an important distinction for beginners, however, which is that many exchanges like Mt. Gox have been hacked. Mm-hmm. So the place that holds the Bitcoin and exchanges the Bitcoin for fiat currency is a great target for hackers. Mm-hmm. So since hackers can't hack into Bitcoin to get Bitcoin, they're going to hack into a place that stores a lot of Bitcoin.
Right.
And this is another reason why, even though we're more than glad for you to start stacking your sats and leaving them on an exchange like Coinbase or River or Strike, once you get to where you've spent some time with Bitcoin, you'll realize the best thing you can do, go ahead and take it into your own hands. Take your Bitcoin into your own hands.
Yep.
Because Bitcoin hasn't been hacked, but big old Bitcoin warehouses have.
Yep.
We also talked about how 30 to 40% of all Bitcoin has been lost. That's what we talked about with number 27, Adam. So Bitcoin says Chappie says that it's within a tolerable range.
Mm-hmm.
She talked about how Chainalysis in 2020 estimated that 20% of Bitcoin is lost, but 30% is plausible.
Okay. So we said 30 to 40. She's saying 20 to 30.
Yeah.
So it's probably 30.
You know, which is it's crazy to think about 1/3. That's like 7 million Bitcoin. That's just boop.
Yeah.
Which means we're all really working with like 14 million Bitcoin.
Yeah.
Which is kind of crazy. Anywho,
all right.
Short story long, just a little nuance there.
Okay.
So let's move on to my mom. Number 28, Car.
All right, number 28, Car. She, first of all, she loves Ithaca hummus.
She does.
And that's awesome. She brought the most amazing little vegan charcuterie board.
Yeah.
And it was a lot of fun.
That is, to date, out of all 47 that we've done here, that was the funniest hummus tasting sequence of any show. Because we crunched woven wheat, we crunched carrots, we crunched celery, and we were just crunching into the mic. We were all cracking up. We should go back and watch that because it is hilarious.
Yeah.
It's so funny.
We were like, here you go, Car. She was like, no, here you go.
Yeah, no, here, watch this. Whoop.
Yeah.
And now she goes to the grocery store, and because she went from no hummus to Ithaca hummus every day. And when she goes to get the Ithaca hummus, literally whoever's also there with her, she's like, hey, have you ever tried Ithaca hummus? Oh, you should get some. Yeah.
Yeah.
I know the CEO. I know. And he also has a Bitcoin pot. She like does it all in the grocery store.
She's got her pitch. She's got her elevator pitch down.
Oh my God. So the theme from my mom was that Bitcoin is a powerful savings technology, especially for natural savers.
Mm-hmm.
3 takeaways. Bitcoin appeals to savers. Solo mining is a decentralized lottery. Saving in fiat loses purchasing power over time. One of the big breakthroughs for me in my mom's episode is that Bitcoin is for savers and Bitcoin is for spenders.
Yeah.
We've all, in my Bitcoin journey, I've heard Bitcoin is for enemies. And, they're basically explaining that it's a neutral money that anyone can use. So it's like Bitcoin is for friends, Bitcoin is for enemies. But I had never heard of it like Bitcoin is for savers, Bitcoin is for spenders. Like, of course, Bitcoin is for savers. And it has taken me over the course of 1 year from someone who doesn't think about money and believes he will out-earn his stupidity to someone who's very involved in the finances and wants to save as much as possible.
Mm-hmm.
So it's turned me into a saver.
Yeah.
And it's in plain sight, and I missed it.
Mm-hmm.
Bitcoin is for savers. But the big surprise for me was that Bitcoin is for spenders.
Yep.
If you like to spend your money, spend it on Bitcoin.
Yeah.
And it will transmogrify your spending into saving.
It's amazing.
It's a freaking magical thing.
Yeah.
Bitcoin is magical.
Yeah.
It can turn saving into saving and spending into saving. It's insane.
Yep.
Insane.
Yep.
So
it's kind of like and she actually brought coins with her.
Yeah.
But those were fiat coins. But it's kind of like if you were like a rare metals collector.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Like that's a good thing to collect, right? Because it increases in value over time. If you collected rare gold coins or something, you get to feel that energy that you have done something that you wanted to do when you spend the money on the collectible or on the Bitcoin. but you're spending it on something that's going to hold an increase in value over time. It really is magical. I love that. Lots.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We talked about solo mining. I've got a BitAxe. It mines a network all by itself, and if it wins somehow, I'm gonna get rich.
An individual miner won a block reward a couple days ago.
Oh, really? Again?
Yeah.
See, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
And I knew of like 2 instances before that. So these little solo miners,
solo miner,
that are basically, I mean, I call them hobby miners because their power level is like, it's like it's like racing F1 cars with an electric scooter. Like it's almost impossible that you're actually going to win or even get close. But every once in a while, somebody does.
Yeah.
And I don't know about you, but I'm trying to scratch off my lottery ticket every 10 minutes.
Yeah.
That's just me.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then saving in fiat loses purchasing, but we know that. Or hopefully everybody knows that by now. So inaccuracies or mistakes, this kind of jumps into the BitAxe. So I talked about how it costs less than charging a smartphone to run my BitAxe. Like when you think about plugging your smartphone in over and over again over the course of a month, these BitAxes, and there are a number of other, kind of solo hobby miners out there, they're not using a lot of energy. It's not like a proper miner that's like a beast and you're strapping it to a volcano or to a waterfall. It's just a little buddy. So Chappie made a little clarification here. She says a BitAxe may consume around 10 to 15 watts continuously. And I can confirm that because when I look at my little stats, I think it's maybe 12 watts that it's doing.
Chappie's so smart.
She says that's 7 to 11 kilowatt hours per month. And maybe that's what I'm seeing. Maybe it's like 12 kilowatt hours per month. At 15 cents per kilowatt hour, it's $1 to $1.65 per month, which is more than a phone at around 10 to 20 cents per month. It's still cheap, but not cheaper than a phone. Fine with me. If you're telling me I need to pay $200 for a hobby miner, and then $1.65 a month to have a chance at 3.125 Bitcoin. Sure.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Yeah. Yeah.
Let's go.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Gold is getting destroyed by Bitcoin. Clarification. This is a matter of opinion, though factually Bitcoin has dramatically outperformed gold in the last decade. Chappie, are you really correcting me or what are you saying? Are you really correcting me or are you proving my point? Which one is it?
She just likes to talk.
Come on, dude. I mean, hey, Stuart, you said gold is getting destroyed by Bitcoin. Not really, even though it's dramatically outperformed gold in the last decade. Come on, chaps.
What's the difference?
Chappie. So what you're saying is that Bitcoin is destroying gold. Thanks.
Yeah.
Appreciate it. So she also says gold has more stable valuation and broader global recognition. So only a matter of time.
I'll give you that.
Only a matter of time.
All right. So we'll close out here with some conversational threads that we left open. First one's from me.
No, from number 26, Chris.
From someone who shares my name.
Yeah.
Okay. From number 26, Chris.
Because you're number 0, Chris, remember?
Yeah.
Y'all might not remember. We have a number 2.
Yeah. 0. We share 0. Let's see. Chris, whether peer-to-peer or consumer to business Bitcoin payments will take off first.
That was kind of interesting.
Yeah, it was.
So we were talking about like with on-chain Bitcoin, we need a way to scale for smaller payments. Bitcoin is excellent for storing value, excellent for exchanging value globally. But with transaction fees, good, clean economy comes into play. Do I want to pay these fees to transfer that much money? And people are like, oh, the transaction fees are so. My flat Earth guy, who I love in the comments, DS flat, bro. I see you, bro. I'm with you, bro. I love you, bro. the transaction fees. But guess what? In the traditional financial network, if someone's like, oh, it's going to cost you $1 million to transfer these $1 million, I'd be like, no, that's not right. So you get to decide, all right, do I want to transfer this Bitcoin on chain for that transaction fee? And if the sats get small enough that you're trying to transfer and the fee gets high enough, you'd be like, I don't know. That's where the Lightning Network comes into play, which I tested out and is freaking the bomb.
Mm-hmm.
And the conversation with Chris was, well, like if we can get more companies to accept Bitcoin, will that drive peer-to-peer?
Mm-hmm.
Or do we get more people exchanging it between each other and then that will drive retail?
Mm-hmm.
So which one do you think, would come first?
Yeah.
Kind of interesting to think about.
Yeah. It is interesting. I mean, obviously we don't have a crystal ball, but there are more and more companies accepting Bitcoin all the time.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But there are literally no, I mean, I guess the restriction between like one person to another is, are you both set up to send and receive Bitcoin? And that's kind of the limiting factor there.
But the restriction on retail is, well, it's already hard enough for us to sell something to somebody. We don't want to be like, oh, but by the way, if you want this cream cheese, you need to figure out the Lightning Network.
Mm-hmm.
So there's resistance to both, but there's benefits for all of them to do it,
Yeah.
I think the biggest advocate for Bitcoin in today's world is number go up.
Yeah.
People are like, oh my God, what?
If I just buy this, it's going to increase my wealth by
now it's 90.
Yeah.
Now it's 250. Now it's $1 million.
Yeah.
Just wait when it reaches $1 million. People are going to be like, what?
Yeah. Yeah. It's too late. It's already at $1 million.
Yeah. It's like,
so they're going to be saying, yeah.
We're going up.
Yeah.
We're going up.
Yep.
And I need to be a little bit looser on, insisting on the exchange rate and that Bitcoin is money. Cause sometimes it's just fun to say we're going up and that we're going to the moon and that the price is going up. Like that's fun too.
Yeah.
It's fun too.
Yeah. It's all good.
So speaking of retail adoption, Adam talked about how he was one of the first retail stores in the Midwest to accept Bitcoin.
That's
and Chappie is pointing out that it would have been fascinating to dig deeper into what that experience was like for him. Operationally, literally, what was that like? Did it last? All that kind of stuff. But number 27, Adam, was so chock full of goodness that we'll just have to think about digging into it in 9 months when he comes back on board.
Yeah, we'll consider that, but no promises because he's got a lot of good stories to share.
Yeah. We also talked about inheriting Bitcoin securely. Adam's all set, and he's got his lawyer rolling. But his friend talked about how his friend died and left kind of like some breadcrumbs for his wife and kids. And they're like, we ain't got no idea how to get this Bitcoin.
That's right.
So maybe spending some time on strategies for inheritance planning would be good.
Yeah.
And we can maybe do a short stack on that at some point. Cause I don't know, y'all.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm raw dogging my Bitcoin inheritance strategy right now. I ain't got none.
Yeah.
I ain't got none.
Yeah.
So that, we got to figure that out. And the good news is as we figure things out, we're going to bring them to you.
You know what my strategy is? You know what I tell Ann? I'm like, if I die, just get in touch with Stuart. Here's this little card. Okay, he'll know what to do with it. Just call Stuart, and that makes her feel better.
So I think that's viable. We just can't be on the same plane at the same time. So from my mom, she talked about creating a Sat Chats digital bookshelf.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe a page on our website that has like a list of recommended books.
Yeah.
We talked about it. We haven't taken any action on that. And, let's wait for a problem before we try to solve it. Cause I guarantee you there's a million lists out there.
Yeah.
To an extent, maybe you trust us and you're like, well, yeah, I get that. But which ones, cut through all the noise.
Yeah.
And that could be fun. I've read the Bitcoin Standard. I've read 40 Centuries of Wage and Price Controls. I've read the white paper. I'm reading When Money Dies. But, if you're looking for a book right now, just get the Bitcoin Standard.
Yeah, 100%.
Say for Dina Moose, will you come on my show? Because I really love you a lot.
He's not going to be able to resist that siren song right there.
I'm like your biggest fan. Oh, no. Know what I mean? Say for Dina.
The other thing that Jeremy talked about in our meeting earlier was a glossary, a Sat Chats glossary, which is another good idea. But we are having a lot of fun with Sat Chats. We're still kind of figuring it out a little bit, and I think we do have some exciting things that we're going to be trying out. And we just kind of have to see where it takes us.
Yeah. And that's some high score stuff right there.
For sure.
And when we reach a point where we are established and secure, then we could have a team and we're like, hey man, right now, y'all, we're doing this all ourselves.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And we're glad to do it, by the way, because we love this work. But that's kind of like
you need some creative space left in your brain.
We need some that's like when we have an army of satillionaires.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So and we also talked about Sat Chats potentially running our own mining rigs. So I think that our show needs to try all this stuff out.
Yeah.
And right now I don't think we should buy, we would need to spend $3,000 to $5,000 to get a single rig that's powerful enough to be part of their pool and return a respectable amount of freshly mined sats to us.
You know what I think we should do instead? Just buy Bitcoin.
Just buy Bitcoin. Yeah. I mean, ultimately, yeah.
Yeah.
I do love the idea of freshly mined Bitcoin that's never been spent.
Oh.
And we just hang on to it. We're like, yeah.
Dang, put that on
Ain't
the
spinning
fresh
you,
pile.
girl.
Yeah.
Ain't nobody, you ain't changed no hands, never, girl. You know what I mean? Woo! Talk about fresh as the pure driven snow. Yeah. Can't nobody spin you, girl. Yeah, I love that.
Love it. Minty.
Maybe we could one day jump in with some Texas guys who, they got some containers out there in the Lone Star State, and we jump in there. But
yeah,
I think it would be good. It might make a good trip.
Yeah.
Might make a good short stack, etc. But my cousin Winchester, he's like, dude, these days, just buy Bitcoin. Just buy Bitcoin. Because by the time that your investment pays off, it's like way down the road.
Yeah.
It's way down the road.
Yeah.
Still pretty cool though.
Yeah.
So left as a future goal.
Yeah.
I think it's still a goal of mine.
Yeah.
I want to support Bitcoin in that way.
Yeah. Interesting. Cool.
So that was it right there. That was number 26, Chris. Not to be confused with number 0, Chris.
Like I did, yeah.
Not to be confused with number 5, Chris. Along with number 27, Adam, and number 28, Car, a.k.a. number 28, Mom. So we hope you enjoyed that rehash. We hope you'll jump back into these and listen to them. I would strongly recommend you listen to number 27, Adam. Even if I haven't convinced you today in the rehash to do so, I would just highly recommend that. Remember to smash the like and subscribe. If you're among the first 999 plus one, we will select you at random and drop 1 million sats on your face. We will unlock a live show Friday mornings at 10 a.m. If you want to support the show directly, our on-chain Bitcoin and Lightning addresses are in the show notes. So Sat Chats rehash is for educational purposes only and should not be construed as financial advice.
See you on the next one.